Hi, welcome to Gardening with Keeks and Louie. This is Keeks, Louie's over here. Today I'm going to talk about how you add soil conditioners and additives to your soil to get the best kind of growth you want out of your garden, to supersize your vegetables. So over here I have my different additives, and I have both organic additives and inorganic additives. So on my left here I have what I used last year, which was a compost and manure mix. It's derived from steer manure, and it's cheap. It's like $2 a bag. And I'll tell you what I ran into last year when I did this. I didn't use a rototiller. I used my shovel. I worked it into the soil in the springtime. I planted my tomatoes about 2 or 3 weeks later, and my tomatoes did well in the beginning, but come around September, I noticed nutrient deficiencies and a lot of leaf curling. I noticed that basically my tomato sets, fruit sets, were not complete. Usually you want to have 5 tomatoes on a fruit set. I was only getting 2 or 3. And what I found out when I was trying to analyze the problem is that you don't ever want to be trying to grow new vegetables in soil that has decomposing material. You can't have life and death and decomposition at the same time. What I should have done was I should have worked this soil conditioner into my soil, let it decompose all winter long, or at least 90 days, and then used a rototiller to complete the process. I think one of the myths with organic gardening is that you can just put all your food waste, all of your leaves and grass clippings into your soil, mix it all together, and you're going to have a really great garden. That's not the case. You really have to wait the necessary time for your soil to decompose all those organic materials into the inorganic nutrients that your plants need to thrive. So over here what we have is my compost pile. I've used 2 different methods of composting, and I've basically just given up on this and stuck to this method. I only compost my grass clippings and my leaves, and it takes me a whole year of composting before we get down to workable, usable soil. And what I want to stress with using compost is you don't want to try to grow vegetables using this kind of stuff. This is still decomposing plant matter, and this is too high in carbon and not high enough in the inorganic nutrients that your plants need to survive. So if we come down further into my compost pile, I'll show you what your soil should look like in order to be able to grow with it. And I don't even know that I have it. If I go all the way to the bottom, your soil should look like that. You can see how even these little sticks, you don't really want those. You want nice soil that's fine enough for your roots to go down into, where roots obviously act like little straws, and they draw up the water, they draw up the nutrients they need. If those little straws try to go into this kind of stuff, obviously they're going to get stuck in this big maze of junk that's still trying to decompose. You can't grow new flourishing plants where you have decomposing, decaying plant matter. Plants do not eat grass, and plants can't eat leaves. Plants eat inorganic nutrients. And we'll go into my garden and I'll tell you more about that. If you look over here, this is all the junk that was in my garden that was not decomposed enough to have inside of the soil. It's all these like twigs. Here's an old squash that I still had. I've got some big sunflower stalks that didn't decompose. You don't want any of this to be in your soil. Your plants aren't going to grow well if you have all these little bits of organic junk inside of them. So what I go through and do is I use my shovel, I dig inside of it, and we get all these twigs, and Louie helps me with this. We grab like every little bit of inorganic material and take it out. And so if I grab my shovel, I'll just give you an example. You just dig inside. I've worked this over a few times. It's been very time consuming. And you just pull all of these twigs, all this junk. You also don't want this kind of stuff. Plant roots aren't going to work well in that. So toss that aside. This bed is just about ready. I'd say I need to go over it a few more times with a shovel. But before I do, I'm going to add my soil conditioners to this. And as I said in an earlier episode, I'm going to do a test where I'm doing half of my garden using inorganic nutrients and half of my garden using organic solutions. I tried unsuccessfully last year to grow an organic garden. I've always grown using fertilizers, so I'm going to try both methods and you can see the results for yourself. And in the next episode, I'll talk about each of these soil additives that I'm going to be using throughout the summer. And thanks for joining us.